What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Pitch Black just came out today, and I'm super excited to show you all the new cards and what they can do. So, well, let's look at them now, shall we? I don't know what else to say. Alright, so first of all, we've got Mega Darkrai EX. This is kind of like the poster child of the new set. This is like the face of Pitch Black, and I actually had a lot of fun messing around with Mega Darkrai yesterday, because we get new sets on PokemontCG Live early. Like, the main appeal of this card is Abyss Eye, which knocks out your opponent's active Pokemon instantly if it is affected by a special condition. There are a lot of ways you could inflict special conditions. I like to do it with Volcanion EX, but I'm not making a Mega Darkrai deck video, so I'm not really going to be going super in depth about all the cards. But yeah, Duskgrade is a pretty good attack too, which does 110 damage, but if any of your bench Pokemon have any damage counters on them, it does 110 more. So if your opponent counters Abyss Eye somehow, Duskgrade is a pretty solid attack. And this card actually synergizes really well with the new item Dark Bell, which causes both active Pokemon, if they're non-dark types, to be confused. So Mega Darkrai would not be affected by Dark Bell because it is a dark type. There are a whole bunch of other cool new Megas in the set. I actually chose to cover all of them. First of all, Mega Chandelure. I really like Mega Chandelure. He looks very cool, and the card is very cool too, because it's got a very cool attack called Phantom Maze, which does 130 damage, but 50 more damage for each colorless energy. I think that's what that's called in your opponent's active Pokemon's retreat cost. And I don't know what the average retreat cost of a Pokemon in the current standard format is, but I'm sure even without the ability Binding Flame, which makes your opponent's active retreat cost 1 energy more, I'm sure you're going to be dealing a lot of damage already with Phantom Maze. And if you got like 4 Mega Chandelure EX in play, Phantom Maze is going to be dealing some insane damage. I cannot wait to play around with this card. And we've got Mega Excadrill. And the main appeal of this card is Maximum Drilling, which does 200 damage, costs 3 metal energy, but if it has 2 extra energy attached in addition to this attack's cost. And just as a side note, it says 2 extra energy, not 2 extra metal energy. So you could slap any 2 energy on there, and Maximum Drilling would deal an extra 130 damage, bringing the total damage up to 330, which is like the magic number of damage to KO most meta relevant things like Dragapult. But we've also got another cool attack called Undermine, which does 90 damage and mills the top 2 card of your opponent's deck, which can be useful in certain situations, so I like it. Next, we've got Mega Zeraora. I think the main appeal of this card, from all the videos I've seen about it, Ptcgradio has a video about this card. So just judging from all the videos I've seen about this card, I think its main appeal is Thunderous Fist, and it does 60 damage for each lightning energy attached to this Pokemon. So I think the strategy would just be accelerate as much lightning energy onto it as possible, and then hit for some heavy damage with Thunderous Fist. And Zeptoturn's not bad either. It does 150 damage and switches this Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon, which can be good if Mega Zeraora has a lot of damage on it and you need to pivot into something else. The Mega Delphox is probably one of my favorite. No, scratch that. It is my favorite Mega from Pitch Black because it's Delphox, and I grew up playing Pokemon Y on my 3DS. So, whenever I play the mainline Pokemon video games, I always pick the Fire type every single time without fail. So Mega Delphox is my favorite Mega from Pitch Black. Both of its attacks are pretty good. I really like Trick Portal because it looks at the top 9 cards of your deck, and you may put any number of Pokemon you find there onto your bench, shuffle the other cards back into your deck. Now, there are a lot of like stage 1s and stage 2s that you could like pair with Mega Delphox. Like I saw a video by DeepRootedTCG. He paired it with Dusknoir, and I think he also had like a Togekiss and Mega Dragonite in there. I think there was something else, but I don't really remember. But yeah, there are a lot of stage 1s and stage 2s that you could cheat into play with Trick Portal, and you could probably do some really cool stuff. I don't know if it's going to be like a gimmick or if it's going to be competitive. I don't know, but I'm definitely going to make a video about this card because it's really, really cool. Its second attack, Eerie Glow, it's not bad either. It does 200 damage, and your opponent's active Pokemon is now burned and confused. So, it's always nice inflicting 2 special conditions at once. I think this is the last Mega on the list, which is Mega Slowbro EX. It's got 1 attack for 3 Psychic Energy, Shell NATO Spin. It does 180 damage, and I really like its effect because during your opponent's next turn, if this Pokemon is damaged by an attack, even if this Pokemon is knocked out, place 12 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. I saw a short by LittleDarkFury. He said he hadn't really seen like a deck built around Mega Slowbro, and that he'd seen it more of like as a one-of in like Slowking decks because Slowking has been popping up everywhere. I actually entered an online tournament yesterday. I was playing Dragapult, and I got my butt kicked by Slowking. Man, Mega Slowbro is really going to make Slowking even more powerful. Because... Actually, wait a minute. Hold on. Scratch that, because Slowking only works on... Oh, wait. Yeah, Slowking only copies the attacks of a non-rule box Pokemon, and Mega Slowbro is a rule box Pokemon, so... I guess the reason it's a one-of in Slowking decks is because you can evolve from Slowpoke into Mega Slowbro and use Shell NATO Spin, so yeah, I guess you wouldn't be using Shell NATO Spin with Seek Inspiration. It would be cool to build a deck around this card, though, because I've been thinking since that attack costs 3 energy, you could play like Jumbo Ice Stream to like heal. Like if you're gonna take damage to activate Shell NATO Spin's effect anyway, you might as well play like a bunch of healing cards and stuff. Alright, that's enough about the Megas. There are a bunch of other cool cards in the set that aren't Megas, so let's get on to those now, shall we? Sorry, I'm a little awkward. First of all, we've got Lurantis EX. The main appeal of this card is Lively Cutter, which says if this Pokemon was healed during this turn, this attack does 200 more damage and its base damage is 60. So if you've got damage on Lurantis and if you heal it, you can do 260 damage. It's not going to KO like a Dragapult or anything. It'll KO like a lot of like supporter EXs and stuff, like Meowth and Fazandipede and stuff. But yeah, it's not gonna KO like a Dragapult or and actually wait, it will knock out Zeraora because you're hitting for weakness. So yeah, based on the videos I've seen of Lurantis EX, I watched the Ptcgradio video about this, and he suggested playing this with like Community Center and Whimsicott, which have healing effects, and playing it with Munkidori, which there was a ruling in a tournament a while ago saying that Munkidori's Adrena Brain ability doesn't heal, it just moves damage counters, so Munkidori's not going to activate Lively Cutter's effect. So that's kind of a bummer. Lurantis EX's second attack isn't horrible either. We've got Leaf Guard for 140 damage, and it says during your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes 50 less damage from attacks after applying weakness and resistance. So this is probably an attack that you're going to want to take a KO with it if you run into a situation where you can. So Lurantis EX is like extra protected from damage. We've got Wailord EX. I really like Wailord EX because This is the first stage 1 with 380 HP. Like, that's the max amount of HP we have in the game right now. It probably won't be long until we got like a 400 HP Pokemon. Yeah, the only other 2 Pokemon with 300 HP are Mega Venusaur and Mega Emboar, and both are stage 2s. And this one is stage 1, so that's even more nuts. The main attack of this card is Falling Down for 5 water energy and does 270 damage at the cost of this Pokemon now being asleep. There are a couple ways you can play around this. Like, you can play Festival Grounds, which prevents all special conditions. Or you could play, like, that one Dugong that moves water energies from one of your Pokemon to another as often as you like during your turn, and playing Surfing Beach, which lets you switch your active water Pokemon with one of your benched water Pokemon. So yeah, this card could be very good. I'm excited to see what it can do. And this card has a lot of synergy with Misty's Vitality, which lets you search your deck for up to 4 basic energy cards and attach them to one of your Pokemon, and then shuffle your deck, and then your turn ends. So I think what you're going to want to do is go first, because if you go first, you get to evolve your Pokemon before your opponent can. So you go first, bench some Wailmer and stuff, and then turn 2, find your Wailord and play Misty's Vitality, and then attach 4 basic energy cards to Wailord. Or actually, you're going to want to find a water energy turn 1 and attach it to Wailmer, and then do Misty's Vitality turn 2, evolve into Wailord and stuff. We've got Fossil Quarry. This is really cool because before Pitchblack came out, fossil Pokemon were always very weird and clunky and slow to get out, because the fossil cards, like what the fossil Pokemon evolve from, are trainers. They're not Pokemon, and you can't search them with like your regular Pokemon searching stuff. So Fossil Quarry kind of fixes that, because once during it lets you okay. It says once during each player's turn, that player may search their deck for up to 2 item cards that have Antique in their name and put them onto their bench. Then that player shuffles their deck. So it makes it a lot easier to find your fossil cards and bench them. And we've got a couple new fossil Pokemon in this set that are really cool. Like, we've got Bastodion from Pitchblack. Its ability, Ancient Bulwark, says as long as this Pokemon is on your bench, prevent all damage done to each of your Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon that have 2 or less energy attached. Like, I think this might have a huge impact on the metagame, because, I mean, for one, Dragapult is a 2 energy attacker, and that's like #1 best deck right now. And Ancient Bulwark just stops Phantom Dive dead in its tracks, unless the Dragapult player attaches extra energy. There's actually a card from Temporal Forces that this has been being played with in Japan. Like, there's a Gengar EX from Temporal Forces that hasn't really seen any play until now, because what it does is it does damage to your opponent's Pokemon when your opponent attaches energy to them, I think. So yeah, Gengar EX and Bastodion have pretty good synergy. And the other fossil Pokemon we got is Rampardos EX. And its ability, Destructive Headbutting. It says once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in the active spot, you may use this ability. Flip a coin. If heads, discard the energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. It's always nice discarding energy from your opponent's Pokemon. So if you keep flipping heads with this, your opponent's not going to be able to do jack doodle squat. And its attack, Rowdy Hammer, for 150 damage, and it says During your next turn, attacks used by this Pokemon do 150 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. So the second time you use Rowdy Hammer, and every time after that, it's going to be hitting for 300 damage. That's nuts. That's really nuts. And when you combine it with like Premium Power Pro and start doing 330 damage, that's going to start one-shotting like Dragapult and Hydrapple and stuff, which is really nuts. I cannot wait to see what the new fossil Pokemon can do. And there's other fossil Pokemon that were released in sets before Pitch Black, and they're gonna receive like a huge buff from Fossil Quarry, and those might see play and stuff. We got an interesting new like one prize Pokemon strategy from Pitch Black, and that is hide and sneak. We got the 4 hide and sneak Pokemon, or at least the four Pokemon with a hide and sneak ability. There's 2 others that are kind of related to the hide and sneak thing, but they don't have the ability. So 4 Pokemon with the ability are Poltergeist, Sinistra, Shuppet, and Bayonet. The ones we're focusing on are Sinistra and Bayonet because they're the stage ones that they actually like. Their attacks actually like do stuff. Like the basics are just like your typical basic Pokemon attacks. They're not really that important. So what Sinistra does is, for 1 energy, we've got Matcha Spin. It says if you have 6 or more Pokemon that have the hide and sneak ability in your discard pile, place 4 damage counters on each of your opponent's Pokemon. That's a really nice attack, just doing 40 damage to all of your opponent's Pokemon. And we've got Bayonet. And its Pop-Up Pull attack does 80 damage for 1 Psychic Energy. And it says you may search your deck for a card and put it into your hand and then shuffle your deck. So that might be like the draw engine of the hide and sneak deck. Or well, not like a draw engine, just like I guess a search engine. Because you just get to search your deck for any card and put it into your hand. So it's really useful thing to do. And for the 2 Pokemon that kind of relate to the hide and sneak strategy but don't have the ability, the first one is Delmise. For 1 Psychic Energy, we've got Vengeful Anchor. It says if you have 4 or more Pokemon that have the hide and sneak ability in your discard pile, this attack does 140 more damage. So if you meet the effective requirements, if you have 4 or more Pokemon that have the hide and seek ability in your discard pile, this attack would do 170 damage. But that pales in comparison to Spiritomb, which for 1 Psychic Energy we've got Spiritual End. If you have 13 or more Pokemon that have the hide and seek ability in your discard pile, choose 2 of your opponent's Pokemon and quadruple the number of damage counters on each of them. That's crazy, bro. Because remember when I talked about, I think it was Sinistra. Yeah, it's the one that places damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon. So you could do that, and then if you have 13 or more hide and sneak Pokemon in your discard pile, you can use Spiritual End and just quadruple the amount of damage counters on on 2 of your opponent's Pokemon of your choice. That's nuts. And the hide and sneak strategy has very good synergy with the new draw supporter card Gwyn, which lets you discard up to 2 Pokemon that don't have a rule box from your hand, and all of the hide and seek Pokemon don't have rule boxes. And you get to draw 3 cards for each discarded Pokemon. And you want hide and seek Pokemon in the discard pile to do a bunch of crazy stuff. So you could play Gwyn, just throw a couple hide and seek Pokemon in the discard pile and draw 6 cards, which is pretty nuts. It's always nice drawing cards in the Pokemon TCG. Okay, what's next in the thingy? Okay, yeah, we've got a few trainer cards from Pitch Black that I think are really cool. That I think are gonna help certain Pokemon do stuff. Like, I think the first thing that came to my mind when I looked at Backtrack Badge is this could really help decks that play Mega Audino as like their energy acceleration, because what Backtrack Badge does It says once during your turn, after you flip any coins for an attack of the colorless type Pokemon this card is attached to, you may ignore all results of those coin flips and begin flipping those coins again. It seems like this card was designed for Mega Gallade, because it's attack Kaleido Waltz. You flip 3 coins and you get to search your deck for 2 energy cards for each heads and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like. So there might be other cards you can play this card with, but Mega Gallade was like the first one that came to my mind, and I can't think of any others. And we've got a Tremendous Bomb. I think this is gonna help against like Mega Evolution Pokemon, because it says if the Pokemon this card is attached to isn't a Mega Evolution Pokemon, is in the active spot, and takes 240 or more damage from an attack from your opponent's Mega Evolution Pokemon, place 12 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. If you placed any damage counters in this way, discard this card. I think that the Megas that would... I think the Megas that this would be the most annoying for is probably like the... yeah, I think the Megas that this would be most annoying for is probably like stuff like Mega Lucario, because it's Mega Brave, attack is 270. I mean, I don't really have a database of all the Mega Evolution Pokemon in my head, so that's why I'm kind of like lost for words right now. But one Pokemon that I can think of that this would really suck to play against is... Or wait. The Pokemon that I think that would really suck playing against us is Mega Lucario, because of like Mega Brave and stuff. But I'm sure there's plenty of other Megas that it would really suck for them if they hit a Pokemon with Tremendous Bomb attached. We've got a couple new special energy from pitchblack. First of which is Shadowy Darkness energy. It says as long as this card is attached to a Pokemon, it provides darkness energy. And as long as the darkness type Pokemon this card is attached to is on your bench, prevent all damage done to it by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon. So no damage, no effective attacks done to the darkness type Pokemon while it's on the bench. That's nuts. And last, we've got Voltaic Lightning energy. It's just as long as this card is attached to a Pokemon, it provides lightning energy. And attacks used by the lightning type Pokemon this card is attached to do 20 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon before applying weakness and resistance. I think this has a lot of synergy with Mega Zeraora because of its first attack, which does 60 damage for each lightning energy attached to it, and Voltaic lightning energy boosts lightning type damage by 20. So you have a lot of these attached to Mega Zeraora, you're going to be hitting for some pretty massive damage. And this is all the cards I've chosen to cover in Pitch Black. I understand that there's a lot of other cards, but I didn't want to like cover everything and go super into detail about everything, because I don't want this video being like a bajillion hours long. And my last set review video kind of sucked, so just trying to keep things short and sweet for everyone. So and I can't wait to play around with all these new cards in future videos. I'm most excited for like all the new Megas, like Mega Chandelure, Mega Delphox, Mega Excadrill, and if you're excited to see me play those cards in decks, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to catch me in the next video if you want to see me play Mega Darkrai, and as always, God bless.